Luke and the Screaming Brain.
Say something.
All right. That's an introduction, right?
Yeah, that works.
All right. Welcome back. This is episode 2 of Lucro and the Screaming Brain, once again starring Frank Dion
and Riley Cole,
where we bring you our thoughts on the latest geek news, items, and possibly make you think about your life. Right? Is that the plan?
I don't want people to think about their life. I don't even want to think about my own.
All right. Well, forget that last part. Maybe you'll just think about somebody else's life. Huh? Oh, that'll work a lot better. All right. Well, regarding our last podcast, I hear we're a success.
A whole 26 views?
Hey, I asked for mild. That was our goal, mild. You know, like we wanted the internet to resound with a resounding land. It's not bad.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody sent us hate mail, so that's good.
No news is good news.
I guess. So, you told me something that you wanted to discuss.
Oh god, yeah. I forget when it was. I'd say, for the sake of posterity, let's say I read it about a week ago. Recently, I read an article that they have a children's league UFC.
Fucking retarded.
Really? I think it's actually a good idea. Specifically because, you know, you already have martial arts training and much other stuff, and you already have children even younger still performing it, still doing that. I mean, UFC, it can be a situation where, the children are overtaught, they're taught to hurt and kill kind of thing. But at the same time, like, as long as you have a parent taking it as seriously as, say, like, karate or, I don't know, taekwondo, you can teach a child a lot of, like, health lessons, and even just, like, mental lessons, I guess. Rebuttal?
I want to see a fucking 7-year-old learning Tai Chi and shit like that.
Oh, you can watch any Asian film. Come on. They start young. They start fetus young.
But the point is that children's UFC is like...
Well, it's not to the point where, somebody goes to kick somebody and breaks a leg like Anderson Silva the other week. You see that? Fucking thing went like rubber.
No, I didn't see
He went
that.
for a kick, and I think he hit his shin, and the guy... You just see Anderson Silva's leg just...
Oh, fuck. No, but I just think that, like, teaching a child, like, kickboxing or something, yeah, whatever, or like, taekwondo, like, it's not about teaching them the actual use of the skills, it's teaching them the other things, like obeying teachers, obeying, like, your elders, and, like, that kind of stuff. UFC, not. It's purely about punish.
Well, it depends, right? Like, it still depends on who your trainer is, right? Like, if your trainer's obvious, the guy is just like, no, take him down, take him hard, take him fast. You know, like your ex-boyfriend or...
I don't have an ex-boyfriend.
Not you, just general people.
No.
Because that's the advice you get, right?
But
Your fatherly advice is always like, hey, take him down, take him hard, take him fast.
But
or maybe
that's
there's...
already achieved with, like, children's martial arts, taekwondo stuff.
I know, but if it's already
blood sport.
But if it's already in that, what's the difference between that and just say UFC? I'm not saying like it's...
Which is a blood sport.
It's not a blood sport. They treat it the same way you treat, like, say, what is that? The very small version of football when you just kind of touch somebody.
They don't do that.
They do that.
No.
The
youngest form of actual football is like pee-wee football, and it's full-out tackle. Yep.
All right.
Because I played it.
All right, soccer, I guess.
You can still, like, kick them in the shins when the ref isn't looking.
Yeah.
My coach has taught me to do that, too.
So my point being, regardless of the sport, it can turn into a blood sport very quickly.
Yes, but it can turn into, it's not already. UFC is already a blood sport.
I disagree.
Really? You disagree? Your main goal is to beat the shit out of the other person until they cannot move.
It's to make them surrender. I'll give you more. Like, look, it's nice when you can see a fight that long, but at the same time, like, I've seen fights less than, 5 seconds?
Yeah, but
Essentially,
still.
it's essentially you're training for a fight. And, like most competitions, that's what you're training for.
And kids don't need to be learning that.
Kids shouldn't be, in this day and age, kids should be learning that the most.
But
They
shouldn't.
Every other person, pedophile. And that person before him, rapist. He's not a pedophile, he just likes raping people.
No, but I don't know. I just don't think. I don't think that that's something that kids need to learn. Like,
What? No, kids don't need to learn specific sports. It's not like it's not a situation where, if you don't learn it, you're gonna die. You don't need to learn karate. You don't need to learn football.
well,
I mean, we're Canadian. We don't technically need to learn hockey. We do, but we don't need to. You can't disqualify something just because you don't technically need it. If we're going by that standard, we don't technically need a lot of stuff.
what I mean is that is something that should not be taught until at least like 12 plus, like when they're no longer considered a child.
Is it because they're fragile?
No, it's not because they're fragile. It's because it gives. Because at least with Taekwondo, they're told right from day one what the whole point of them learning Taekwondo is about. UFC, you cannot get away with that because that is not what UFC is. Taekwondo, yes. UFC, no. They're getting bad things put into their head, I guarantee you.
See, and I think I don't know. To me, I can understand that argument in so much that it is a possibility, but at the same time, it depends on, the parent. Obviously, the parent's not going to be like, well, for the most part, I'm going to say.
I've seen some pretty
Conservative
retarded parents.
All right, what's the best way to put it? If it becomes a big enough thing, it's going to be highly regulated. Same thing almost everything is, to the point where, you play it and you're just like, why the fuck are we playing this? We're not even keeping score. That kid's just staring in the sun for the last half hour. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, I get that part, but I still...
But it's the thing, like, I think it's a burdening thing. Like, not burdening. What's that thing? Emerging, I guess.
I guess. I don't know what you're trying to say. I can't look in your head.
What about that machine I gave you?
I threw it out.
I knew it.
Sorry.
No one keeps my gifts. But getting back to point. Like, that kind of... Oh, virgining. Ah, there it is. Virgin? Yeah. Anyways,
still lost.
It's a sport that's emerging. And that's the thing. Like, right now, it's about as violent as, say, something like, what was that? Boxing was once considered. Because before, it was all bare knuckle, and there's absolutely no...
There was no bare knuckle.
Oh, there was bare knuckle, my friend.
That's dirty boxing. That's not boxing.
I know, but it emerged from that. You start at a situation where you have literally almost no rules except the rules that the group kind of agrees on. And then beyond that, you go, all right, well, we're going to make this a little safer. So no more barbed wire around your hands. You put down that beer bottle. And then before you know it, you got gloves on. You're ready to box, and you're not going to die normally from a boxing match. It's the same with, like, remember hockey. Hockey started off, it was just a helmet, skates, and a stick. Now we have all these...
And the helmets weren't really a helmet.
It's like a...
cap.
Yeah. But that's my point, right? It didn't start off safe.
But people also back then weren't as fast. The equipment wasn't as good enough to make you as deadly of a person. And then along with the better equipment came the potential to be better and stronger and be able to hurt people more.
Yeah, well, my point is, if it becomes a big enough sport, you're going to have a situation where eventually it's not you're not just sending in the kids completely unprotected. You're sending in with like same thing you send in for a sparring partner. You have the little head guard.
Yeah.
You have the gloves. You have the kickboxing pads.
Well, I hope to fucking God they do that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying like this is the best thing your kid could be doing. I'm just saying like, as an idea in itself, I think it is ripe with positive possibilities.
See, and like I'm not concerned that like during all of this, like a kid's gonna get hurt and like get a concussion and like or like.
Well, we all know how you feel about children.
Yeah, they can go fucking die. I don't fucking care. Kids are the devil. But what I think though is that it's because of the nature of the sport, it is not good for the developing mind of a child. That's what I think.
Well, creating like sort of like, I'm not gonna say Spartans, more like anarchist.
Anarchist?
Yeah, anarchist. Thank you.
Yeah, the sport's pretty anarchist, right? Like, like there's no real formality with it.
Yeah.
Because you can this person in UFC is Muay Thai. This person is like, I don't even know all the mixed martial arts types. All I know is Muay Thai because that's Sagat.
Well, you still got like you still got boxing, you got kickboxing, obviously.
Yeah, well, like,
and that's the thing. Like to do UFC, you do have to kind of know a martial art.
Well, you have to know some form of martial arts and then turn it into your own.
Yeah, and because of that, you still have to get that kind of training with it. Yeah, not to the extent of an expert or like a black belt, but still enough that you understand kind of the teachings that would come along with beginning that kind of a class.
Yeah, but you don't get all the good teachings. Like, you don't get the sit down.
Well, of course not. They hide those in the back.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem with the youth. This is the whole reason why I'm against it.
So your problem mainly is that the way a martial art is set up, they should teach the lessons right away.
Yes.
So,
like they do in Taekwondo.
Yeah. All right. So, not only against because of the lessons that need to be taught beforehand.
Yes.
All right. So, if you're regulating, and they said, all right, well, you have to take at least 3 years of blah blah blah.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I would agree with it, but they're not doing that. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like like I said, right now, purely we're in a situation where it's too early.
I guess.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've seen a couple of the fights. Very interesting. They stop obviously before anyone gets a bone broken or anything. They keep it clean. Most of the takedowns aren't very strike oriented. They're more grapple. So it's not a situation where they get on top of them and it's immediately elbow, knee smash.
Okay, well that's good, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I know most people hear it and they immediately think it's like pure UFC. No, it is the kid version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's better, but I still they're still not getting the proper Taekwondo thing, and that's like the only reason why I think kids should be doing Taekwondo is because of like the way that they're taught it.
Yeah.
UFC, I highly doubt they'll be taught the same morals as Taekwondo. But yeah, I think did we cover everything?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Add to that?
No. That's mainly my two thoughts. You've got your two thoughts. Listeners, if you want to put in your two thoughts, get a hold of us either on our YouTube channel at...
Oh, those guys I still hang out with.
And that's the actual thing?
Yeah, that's the actual thing. We call it the Tiggy Show, but if you type in those guys... if you type in Tiggy Show, TGI Show, then it'll come up to Those Guys I Still Hang Out With YouTube page. Or
likely Lucro and his Screaming Brain. That's how I found our video last time.
Yeah.
Alright, so if you want, go there and you can list your comments and thoughts on UFC children fighting. Or if you want, you could also go on the Screaming Brain page. That's www.facebook.com/Screaming Brain, I believe.
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, just post on the page. Let us know what you think. We'll read some comments on how people are reacting. Yeah, I guess that's the big thing. Is comment, please. I got kids to feed. Kids, I'm gonna throw in the UFC. I'm kidding. I have no kids. I just, yeah. All right, your turn. Shoot, topic.
Yeah, because this is always a debate amongst everyone that it ever comes up to. God powers, and I'm specifically talking about an anime that obviously we've both seen, and hopefully almost everyone who's listened to this has seen, Death Note. L has,
and if you haven't, take the time, watch it. Very good.
24 episodes, 2 seasons.
24? I thought it was more.
24 episodes, 12 episodes a season. There might be 26 episodes, but 20. Well, it's the 24 mark area.
All right, now, well, anyways, it's a great series. Highly. Yeah, it's got to be more than 20. Like I think it's like 36. 12. Yeah, 12 episodes a season. There's 3 series, 3 seasons.
There's only 2 seasons.
There's 3, because the first 2 deal with like L fighting Light, and then the third one is when the end comes in, Near. The little blonde-headed kid.
I thought first season was L's dead.
Hey.
Light becomes L.
Yeah.
And then second season is N.
No.
Trying to capture L.
No, that second season is when he actually becomes L.
And then
the
N
first
comes
season,
in and finds him.
Yeah, that's
by the
third
end of the
season.
second.
No, that's third.
Okay, well, I don't have my
you got the
box set.
internet. You literally have the internet. If you're
no, we're doing a podcast though.
Well, you have a phone. Use your phone.
No. That's taking too much time out of it. No.
Fine.
Okay.
All
anyways, I've seen all the episodes.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many there are, but whatever. The point of the being was, is it possible for somebody to come in contact with the Death Note, such as what Light did, and or a power similar, as equally powerful, let's go with, and not get corrupted by the use of it?
See, it's a pure possibility. You gotta go by the simple fact, anything is technically possible. Likely, I'm gonna say it's very likely you'll be corrupt, but there are always exceptions. Obviously, like somebody like the character of L probably wouldn't. First of all,
L or Light?
Yeah. Which one do I like?
No. Like, I'm getting confused because like L or Light L.
L.
Okay. L.
Because Light obviously used it.
Yeah. Well, so did L.
Yeah. Well, L had to eventually.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a situation where he's like, you know what? I found a Death Note. Now it's my turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, like ultimately, I think if you have a situation where you have a what's that? Altruistic? Yeah. Well, a person driven to help others, then that kind of situation would be less corruptible. But the problem is,
but that's what Light wanted to do in the end. Like, his ultimate goal in the end was helping other people by using the Death Note.
Yeah. Well, my question, the thing that comes up though is the problem is the nature of the gift itself.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, that gift itself is, you ride in it and you kill other people.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where you get to grant somebody else's wish.
Yeah.
See, I think that's the thing though. Specifically with the Death Note, yes, I believe most would become corrupted because you have to, unless you wrote in it to kill yourself, or you touched it and then you just didn't do anything with it.
Was I'm forgetting his name. The guy who was playing the wannabe Kira.
Okay, yeah.
The lawyer. Didn't he end up killing him? No, he didn't kill himself. He was killed by L.
Mad spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it and plans to.
Whoops. We forgot to say that.
Don't worry, we haven't given too much away.
Other than everything.
Don't worry, don't worry, we talk too fast. Most people won't pick it up. I think they're talking about a light switch and then like an L.
No, but no, I forgot that he became corrupt too. Yeah, everybody except for L. I don't think L became corrupt when he used it.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that, like I said, he actually is a person who sought to help.
Well, yeah, because he used it only for the fact to figure out how it worked in order to catch light.
You know, the whole greater good thing.
Yeah.
And not in certain terms of the greater good, in terms of like this is society's greater good, because that's what light was doing.
Yeah, he was trying to do for greater good of society, and L was trying to do it for just the greater good of
stopping a guy killing people.
Yeah.
All right.
Breaking the law.
Yeah, but I think that's the biggest issue with that, is just like the nature of the gift itself would determine kind of how corrupt you would become. A person, I guess, pure of heart, if you will, would likely just die rather than actually use it even once.
Yeah, somebody pure of heart could never use something like that, obviously, because, like, you're killing people.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of pure. That's impure.
So beyond that, it goes into a whole moral quandary, right?
Yeah.
When is death okay? Or, even to push the idea even further, to something we've kind of discussed at length, is, let's say you have somebody completely unreformable.
Yeah.
What method do you take? Do you like, well, you have the three methods, right? You have death, you have life imprisonment, and let's say they develop the ability to change your personality through forceful means. Lobotomy, shock collar, what else is there? Like, just casual brain surgery.
Which is a lobotomy.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. They cut out a piece of
Both
your
of
brain.
them, all of them, turn out to be a lobotomy. Shock therapy is basically a lobotomy.
Yeah, but
In
at
a
least
way,
you're
like
more
you're
aware of
frying.
it.
I guess.
You get to still use most of your functions.
Yeah, you're being forced not to do stuff.
In your opinion, what would you choose?
I choose death to the unreformable. Death is the best option because it is the least suffering for them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm personally for a lobotomy, shock collar, or brain surgery, simply because I don't believe in wasting any opportunity. You have a workforce that no one cares about. Give them the shit jobs.
We've also got like 3 billion people on this planet. We are overpopulating the planet. We don't need to take the unreformable and make them reformable.
Well, then with the overpopulation, we don't have to about that. Mother Nature's taking care of that. Have you seen some of this shit that happened last year?
Well, yeah. The really weird ass like tsunamis and.
If you ever get bored, go online, YouTube, type in "Strange Events 2013." It's about 2.5 hour video listing everything that happened last year. I'll be honest, frightening.
The rapture is coming. My God, the Christians are right.
Well, we did get those horns the other year. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard them.
Like, did you actually hear them, or did you hear of them?
I heard of them.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, people are saying elaborate prank, and other people are saying like, these are real. What do you believe? I personally go with real, just because scientifically it's possible.
Well, the only reason why it's scientifically possible because it hasn't been disproven yet.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like,
but I mean, that's also with saying like there's such thing as a house hippo. We know there isn't. But
bullshit. We know there isn't.
we
Hey,
can say without a doubt there's
we
no.
can't say without a doubt. We haven't seen them. They were on the brink of extinction. Therefore, all we know might have been. The lack of evidence is not the evidence of lacking.
But that's the point, though. That's the only reason why it's scientifically said could be true, is because we can't prove that it could not happen. But we still know that 99.999% sure it's not going to happen.
Are we talking about the raptor? Or just like the horns?
Well,
Because I was talking about the horns.
oh, okay. Well, that could actually happen just cause that there's so many weird things that the world works.
Personally, I thought when it was announced, I kind of went. I think it's like because we have all these sinkholes occurring all over the world.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility where sinkhole, you have the tectonic plates rubbing against each other,
Yeah.
and those are going to create a scraping sound. You have enough sinkholes emerging, you could just pop out. There's a sound.
Yeah. That's like horns are completely, and I mean like there's also other things too like,
Harp.
well yeah, but I mean
The whole conspiracy theory. They're trying to control our weather. I think they have. I think it's happening.
what that our government has control.
Not our government. Specifically, our government, maybe. It's, small hand. But you have two major.
Oh
people.
no, Canada is like the major country for weather control.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Canada and the States are the two big ones.
I did not know it was us. I thought it was just the States and Russia.
No, all three of us have it. It's actually part of the Northern Hemisphere, the Arctic Treaty or whatever the fuck that thing's called, where all the countries who touch the Arctic, there's actually a rule in there, and it's also in NATO. Yeah, NATO.
Yeah.
NATO and part of NATO is any country that comes up. Well, of course, there's only the three countries part of NATO, but any of the three countries that come up with weather control, like technology, they have to share it with the other ones. And the ones who first started the use of tornadoes was Canada. Canada was the first country to be able to create a tornado.
That is awesome. That's right, we're leading the way in tornadoes.
But after that was said, like after it was found out that Canada, States, and Russia all had this technology, because Canada figured out that means Russia and States now have this technology as well. I believe this was like prior Cold War.
So we're going maybe 70s?
Yeah.
60s or 70s?
Yeah, somewhere in there. That right then was when what's the UN put a global law that you cannot use weather tactics for war.
Could you use them just regularly?
Yes, and we do. Like China for the Olympics.
Yeah.
They there was never a drop of rain during the Olympics because any time a rain cloud started coming, they'd fire off a rocket that had chemicals to disperse rain clouds.
Nice.
So we can control whether or not it's going to rain, and we can also create the rain clouds too.
I often thought like when I watch at Strange Events 2013, there's so much weird weather going around the rest of the world, and yet our place is relatively normal. Would you agree? I mean, yeah, the weather changes with the wind, but it's never to the extreme where I have to worry about going outside and seeing a bird fall out of the sky and shatter.
Yeah, and that. It totally could be, although like our government is not obliged. They're not forced to tell us when they're doing this shit. They don't have to, as long as they're not doing it as part of war.
Yeah,
they're fine with, like, they are allowed to fucking create whatever the fuck they want. Like, as long as it's not malicious attempt to kill people, it is fine.
I don't like that garbage over there. Create a tornado.
But yeah, no, it's quite possible that they could have been, like, some of these weird tsunamis and shit could have been the starting of like tests between Canada and the States, testing something,
or just like adverse effects. Because if you change the weather, obviously it has to go somewhere.
Yeah, and
we live in a
butterfly effect.
Yeah, essentially, And for those who don't know, it's a movie with Ashton Kutcher and
some other people that nobody cares about.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wait, what were we talking about?
I don't remember.
You gotta love tangents, right?
Oh, the unreformable.
Oh, right. All right. Well, then, all right. In terms of the unreformable, I think our reactions are fairly simple, which is you're for death, I'm for keep them as a workforce.
And I hate lobotomies a lot, very much, because I consider it.
What if a person volunteered for a lobotomy? Just a regular person.
My first question would be why? Why
Like,
do
literally-
you want to change everything about you?
Like literally, you had a situation where a guy sitting at a desk and he's got like two papers. He's like, all right, you can either choose death or lobotomy. And he's like, can I choose the third option and walk out? Yeah, you can do that too. And he's like, but you have these two choices. And he's like, I don't know, I'm feeling a lobotomy. You against that way?
I mean, I guess not. I guess if they're like walking up saying, "Hey, this sounds like a good fucking idea," I'd be like, "You're fucking retarded," but whatever. If we want to make you even more retarded,
so essentially, as long as it's consensual.
yeah, I guess. But that's the same with like I'm not against people who do fucking methamphetamines, but like I don't think it should be done. But I guess I would consider those like grouped in the same category.
I just mean because I've known you, and you were like, I'm fully against lobotomies. No reason should there ever be a lobotomy. And I'm kind of like, well, what if it's consensual? And you're like, maybe.
Well, I mean, I would never personally. I would rather die any time than.
You're like
option.
you're having the same reaction as somebody with pot. Look, I'm not against it. I wouldn't partake myself, but I'm not gonna stop anyone if they're passing it around.
Yeah, it's like if people are consenting to it, then whatever. You're fucking retarded. I hope you have a shitty life as a fucking drone, but like I think that it's a very cruel thing just to do to someone, and it's way crueler than ending their life.
So essentially, you're just against forced.
Yeah. Well, much against forced mostly anything. Name a few things that you do by force that is okay, other than to the unreformable, and that should be death only.
Nailing in a nail.
Pushing a car. We're on the topic of fucking inanimate objects. Let's go back to animated objects.
Pushing a man out of the way of a bus.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That is acceptable. You're allowed to push a man out of the way of a bus.
Pulling him out of the way by use of his neck.
I guess that's better than getting hit by the bus. Unless he wanted to get hit by the bus. What if he wanted to get hit by that bus and then you pushed him out of the way?
Well, yeah.
That's worse. Then we're back to bad again. You stopped him from doing something he wanted to do.
Yes, but the driver did not consent to that.
No, well, who the fuck cares about the bus driver?
I think he plays a part in this. I mean, he's gonna have to live with the fact he killed an old man.
But then the old man's gonna have to live with the fact that he didn't get killed by the bus driver.
He could do it again anyway. And this time he could do it a lot quicker. He could do it with no one around. Do it in front of a train.
There's a train conductor.
Yeah, but even with a train conductor, you jump on the tracks. You can't stop like on a dime. It's not like a bus.
Buses can't stop on a dime either. They're like 3-4 tons. What are they gonna do? They slide to a stop.
They can see you further on than a train could. A train takes much longer to stop, is what I'm saying.
But they can see you from the same distance because the people have the same eyesight.
Not with a train.
You're telling me that somebody sitting in a train has shittier eyesight than somebody in a bus?
Yes.
How so?
How many people do you know hit by a bus compared to being hit by a train?
Getting hit by a train's a lot easier though because you can jump in at the last second. It's a little bit harder to jump in front of a bus
Exactly my
at the last
point.
second. But that does not mean that somebody in a train has worse eyesight.
Sure it does. They saw him there. Didn't bother stopping.
They saw him off the tracks. You ain't gonna stop because everybody's close to a track. You would never get to your fucking destination.
You'd get there just a lot slower. You gonna jump? Please don't jump. Don't jump. Oh God, don't jump. Alright, well, now that we've thoroughly bored you with like actual political and sociological debates, any geek?
Any geek.
Ooh, how about this? Episode 7, Star Wars.
Yes.
What are your
I
thoughts?
talk about Star Wars.
I know you're a huge Star Wars fan, and
Very much so.
alright, first up, returning the original cast from the original trilogy.
Fan.
Now, star or sub-character?
Sub-character.
And how do you feel about the fact that they might actually be the stars and then their children are the sub-character?
I very much disagree, because the whole point, even 4, 5, and 6, was essentially the torch being passed, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. And then the torch returning.
What is 4, 5, and 6, technically speaking, is the torch
Luke
being,
Skywalker.
the torch being passed from Anakin to Luke.
Yeah, because Anakin was considered the
As well as Yoda and
Yoda,
Obi-Wan.
Yoda and Obi-Wan, and passing the torch down to young Skywalker.
Young Leia.
Leia.
Thank you. I wanted to say Lola, but I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And then you got would you actually consider Han Solo one of the people who received the torch? I mean, yeah, he got his medal and everything with everyone else, but he didn't really seem like he was part of that whole thing.
Well, he was. I mean, like, he was one of.
No,
he was almost more important than Luke.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he came in. He came in to help, but it almost seemed like he wasn't even happy after he did it. Like, the reluctant hero, if you will.
Yeah, because he's a smuggler. He doesn't want fame. He just wants fortune. He wants fortune while staying under the shadows. So, like, he did just as much as everyone else. He just did it in a way that he would be less recognized for it.
Well, my question more is, like, if you pass the torch to that kind of character, and he doesn't want it, is it still technically passing a torch?
Yeah, because, I mean, he still took it, and he still went with it. He just did it in a way that was, like, not as showmanshipy about it, right? Like, he was just very discreet about it.
Yeah.
Running away a lot.
Yeah, okay. He's like, you know what? I love it in that carbonite. I'm gonna go back in there, relax for a bit. I'm tired of smuggling.
He also had his own problems that he was dealing with while they're trying to get him to help with their shit. He had his own problems he had to deal with. So I mean, like, there's that too. But either way, for the whole them trying to bring back the main characters like Luke, Leia, Han as the main characters, I disagree with, because the whole point of starting the next trilogy is
ushering out the old, bringing in the new.
Yeah, kind of like how 1, 2, 3, although it was the second trilogy, it's still the timeline first trilogy. It was Qui-Gon for the first episode.
Yeah. Passing it on to Obi-Wan and
Anakin showing up in the first one as well, as boy Anakin. And you also had Padme in there too. And that was setting up for the birth of, by 2 and 3, well, 2 and then the beginning of 3, the torch was fully passed to Anakin, who is considered to be the prodigy, the prophecy, the Jesus Christ of Star Wars.
Ooh, before we continue, I want to ask, do you consider the fact that they skipped so many years, sort of like you said, Jesus Christ, where it starts out with him doing something heroic as a kid, and then just skips to him as a teenager? Do you think it would have been more interesting if they continued the story then?
Not necessarily, because...
Or do you think, because, you have the clone... Do you think there's just large periods of, look, stuff are happening, but they're just not threatening the universe quite yet?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because Star Wars, it's all about the big what do I want to say? I want to say fascist overruling, right? Yeah. They don't care about the little fucking smugglers and bounty hunters coming in and doing their own shit, and that's kind of what 2 was. It was like a bit of like the bounty hunters being gay, but then it included that fascist stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's when it got good. And it was like, okay, this is where it's good. Number 2 was actually, in my opinion, the better of the trilogy.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll go with 3 myself.
I hated 3. 3 is just an ugly piece of shit that should never have existed. But each to their own, I guess.
Well, the thing about it is I like the hero's journey to becoming a hero. Interesting. Been done. I've seen it 1,000 times. It's a good story, but at the same time, frankly, I kind of like seeing the other version. The hero becoming a villain.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really good idea, but it was done so badly that I don't fucking care.
What specifically?
The acting was terrible.
So that's not really story. That's just acting. Continue.
Yeah. There was plot holes.
As with every movie.
Yeah, and I mean there was
There's
plot
big
holes
enough
in
plot.
two.
There was big enough plot holes though
There was-
that took you out of it.
Yeah, like the technology that R2 had and stuff like that. That was a big fucking issue for me.
Okay.
In episode 2, they only showed it once, and it was a very small scene. It bugged me, and I didn't like it. But episode 3, the fact, when the fuck did R2 get a flamethrower? And why does he not have it in 4, 5, and 6?
Don't you understand, man? It was damaged. It's damaged in between movies when they're wiping their minds.
No, I disagree with that statement.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the problem is, like I said, you have this too much skips. So if there's an upgrade, you literally have to tell the audience, by the way, in between things, we upgraded him. I mean, that's all you have to do. Loop in a line. We've upgraded R2-D2.
But the only problem is, though...
And then at the end of the movie, oh my god, he's been damaged. Will his flamethrower ever work again? Probably not.
Yeah, and that was the poor writing, and that's what made the movie bad. They didn't they didn't compensate for it. George Lucas didn't even have that thought occur to him. That's like, oh shit, I fucked up technology. You also look at...
I think it's a situation where he gave his fans too little credit in terms of how much they'll pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking, well, I'm just telling this big fantasy epic, and, they'll be sucked into that, right, and not focus on the minor details. But that's the problem, right? For most films, you have the minor details are actually what people focus on the most. When you hear somebody complain about a movie, they'll complain about, like, an action scene could have been amazing, but they'll be like, I don't believe it. Why? Well, he obviously wouldn't have used his left shoe because of this. You're just like, really? That's what stops you?
Yeah.
Like, what do you call it? My family was watching The Hot Chick. You seen that? Rob Schneider switches body with a cheerleader. Yeah. I'm watching it. My mom goes, this would never happen. No girl would ever wear those earrings. You're sitting there. You're like, yeah, Mom, that's the reason. And that's the thing, right? We focus on the mundane. It's weird. We're willing to give the benefit of a doubt to something so preposterous. Yet, to the absolutely mundane, you're just kind of like, nope, don't buy it. That's completely ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, but the other thing too, though, is that like you even look like at the universe of like Coruscant and stuff in episode 3, and like the technology that they had just everywhere, nothing compared. Like, it was so over the top, way better, and this is like, what, 40 years earlier than 4, 5, and 6, and I get it, 4, 5, and 6 were made first, and we didn't have the technology to make it look like they had that technology.
Well, given, George Lucas takes the time to go and edit his movies, you'd figure he might go and, fix some of the technology.
Yeah, but
at the same time, I completely understand. It is odd that a movie that's supposed to take place beforehand is more advanced than a movie that takes place afterwards. But you could argue, kind of like you remember when Scar took over the kingdom in Lion King?
Yeah.
How it all went to shit. You could argue that when the Empire took over, a lot of technology was either suppressed or destroyed.
But it wasn't though. It wasn't though.
Well,
as
far as we know,
it's
speculate. At this point, it had to be speculation of what happened in between, or if they expand upon it and they expand the universe, which I think finally became canon.
Yep, I am so very happy that happened because I'm a huge Old Republic, just everything. Like now, I'm reading the first book in all of Star Wars timeline.
Yeah.
And like that's back when they considered themselves Jedi instead of Jedi.
Yeah.
And like before, this is like even before all of the current galaxy of Star Wars universe, like current latest time period. So like the way after Death Star battle, or sorry, I should be using BBY. Like we're talking like 10,000 BBY is what current Star Wars like Episode 7 is going to be, and this is like, or no, not BBY. ABY, after Battle of Yavin. I'm confusing myself. So like Episode 7 is ABY, after the Battle of Yavin, and right now I'm reading a book.
Stay with us, guys. It gets more interesting. Trust us. Continue.
Right now I'm reading a book that's 40,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So this is like 60 or so
essentially just
years
completely
before.
different world.
Yeah, it's in a totally different galaxy.
Yeah.
Like way across the universe.
And that's the thing. That's the interesting thing with like Lucas. The idea of being able to do episodes 1, 2, and 3. You have infinite possibility, and you kind of focus on a situation which could be interesting. But you had this infinite possibility to go. All right, well, let's tell a story from way back when, before we had to deal with like introduce Anakin and say like the the episode 3 rather than doing it in the first one.
Yeah.
Rather than doing Anakin's journey from hero to zero.
But the only problem though is that when he made 1, 2, 3 to be a mirror image of 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
That was the idea. And 7, 8, and 9 is supposed to be a mirror image again, just with the next generation.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm also back to the original question. I'm not happy about the possibility of the middle group being main again.
Well, that's the problem, right? You got J.J. Abrams, who arguably creates some entertaining movies. I won't lie. I do enjoy the Star Trek films. But the problem is, I think his biggest problem is he's a rehasher. Everything you've ever seen by the guy tends to have been done before.
Well, I mean,
like watching like Super 8. Have you seen?
Nope.
All right, but not to spoil too much. Honestly, half the story is interesting. The other half is just like, why did they bother including this? This would have been a much better story if you kept this half.
Yeah.
And like what do you call it? In Star Trek, one of my biggest complaints is he does this whole situation with spoilers to anyone who has not seen that. To Khan, the whole story is somewhat a reflection of the Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Problem is, like, you rebooted the universe, infinite possibility. You could do anything. You retell Khan, and I'm sitting there and it bugs me. I would rather you fail at something completely new than do something that's been rehashed, than succeed at something rehashed.
But did it really succeed? It failed.
Financially, yes.
Oh.
Amongst the fans, they voted it the worst Star Trek movie ever. Lower than Galaxy Quest.
Amazing.
Which isn't a Star Trek film, and they just include it on the list because they're like, well, it's close enough. And if you watch it, obviously it is fairly close. But
yeah, it is.
But honestly, like, I enjoy J.J. Abrams' projects, but I think he's a better idea man than he actually is a director.
So,
I think it would go back to kind of like how Lucas is. He's a fantastic idea man. Not much of a great writer, because he needs somebody there to be like, no.
Yeah.
Like what was
same with
what was it? Han Solo, right? Originally supposed to be like this weird alien type of thing.
Yeah.
And
well, he was supposed to be like Greedo, I believe.
Yeah. And then they're like, no, and it actually ended up working better for the movie.
Yeah.
There are certain artists who need to be told no.
And that's the same even with Quentin Tarantino. Certain things, like he had that assistant director for a while there, for like most of his movies prior to Django. He had a assistant who basically convinced him out of stupid ideas. And that's like why, back to our first episode when I bitched about the fucking text.
Yeah.
That would have never have happened if he kept his assistant. He fired his assistant before he started Django Unchained.
Yeah,
and that's why he made a couple big stupid mistakes that he should have been told no.
But at the same time, like, it's so what do you call it? Minimal in like his in his quest.
Well, yeah.
He's a situation where he's an artist who hits more than he fails. With Lucas, I think like I said, his problem is
He's now
more
50-50.
Yeah. He's just rolling the dice. Come on, 7. Fuck craps. And like so when I heard he sold, I was actually very happy. For the simple fact that I was just like, well, look, you finally have a studio who can finance it very well. And not only that, but unlike just acquiring it, they did the Marvel method. They just gave him a studio.
Yeah.
Which is the best idea you could do for anything you're getting that's that expansive.
And I'm not like super happy that he sold it. What I'm happy about is that proper movies are being made again. That's what I care about.
Well, that's the thing. Like under him, it became a situation where, because his movies weren't as great as, everyone would have liked, including himself probably.
Yeah. As he actually admitted to that.
You come to a situation where you're afraid to actually attempt because you're just like, if I do something wrong, my fans are gonna kill me.
Oh yeah,
and then you become crippled by that fear.
And that's exactly like I believe he actually stated that he did not want to continue the Star Wars universe anymore because he did not want to deal with doing something
death threats.
Well, he didn't want to deal with he didn't want to make something that he didn't believe in, but he also didn't want to let down the fans, because either way, no matter what, he was going to let down the fans. If he didn't make episodes 7, 8, and 9, he'd be letting down Star Wars fans. But if he made them and fucked up like he fucked up 1, 2, and 3, then they're going to be even more upset. So no matter what, his mindset was thinking, I'm going to be upsetting people. The best way I can do is make $3 billion and give it to Disney.
And, that's a great way to go out, right? Of any possibility. I mean, I'll be honest. If I have a company and they offered me $3 billion, my company was worth let's say 2.5.
Yeah.
I'm making that, and I think I would sell it just because I'm like, look, they're obviously going to do something with it. I mean, it's netting me a nice mint, but at the same time, like, let them do it. I'd rather an artist get a hold of my stuff than a soulless corporation. And that's the problem. Like, people
saying Disney is not a soulless corporation?
I would argue that they're not, really.
Okay, fair enough. If you don't think they are, but I kind of think they are.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, how easily could they fuck up a Marvel movie?
Well, I mean...
Or how easily can they fuck up, like, Star Wars? They can easily go in and, note it to death. But they tend to stay relatively out of the picture. They let them work, and that's the thing with Disney. As a soulless corporation, say something like, what would be a great one? Like Universal or...
Basically anything Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, where you have a situation where they don't care about... Like, Disney cares about the money, obviously. What, we're getting close?
Yeah. Just let you know.
Alright. Well, we could always go over and edit.
Yeah.
Because personally, I would rather cut out some of the early part of this thing, because it was interesting, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, this is where the meat of the show is.
Yeah.
Your choice, though. I mean, you're going to be the one editing.
I mean, it can also go over an hour. I don't fucking care that much.
Alright. But just in complete talking, honestly, I believe they are less soulless than people give them credit for. I still believe they're about the bottom dollar, but at the same time, they're like, hey, if we can still we can still get like critical response, that's good too.
Yeah.
So if they can, they're the ones actually trying to find that kind of balance between like, look, we want $1 billion for this movie, and we want people to like it.
Yeah, and the other thing too, like I'm happy. I'm not so I'm not enthusiastic about somebody else necessarily making it, but I'm happy that it was Disney out of anything that picked it up. And the reason is that George Lucas's big thing, other than the whole political and religious beliefs that he input. The whole Anakin is Jesus, born of virgin death, blah 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 blah. And then you had the Empire, who was complete fascist Hitler, everything. Was the basic morals of passing the torch on, like we were talking earlier, and that's what Disney does. Every single Disney film, like cartoon anyways, is passing down the torch from one generation to the next. So their ideas are gonna mold together.
With the Disney films, I've noticed it's kind of a situation where, hey, here's a character, and now he's going to go on a strange journey of just meeting other characters.
But it's still like their whole premise is kind of like, passing from father to son.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like that's most of their movies. They want to instill that idea.
Passing on to the next generation, which I'm okay with. Like you're saying, like the problem. Not the problem, but Disney, like you got the two big people who could actually do this, which is Disney and Warner Brothers. They're like the DC and Marvel, and
Pixar,
they own
Pixar, I think. Well, no, they can't.
They don't have the money for that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, like I think Disney itself makes what $8 or $9 billion. Like their net worth is that.
Yeah.
So, we'll look at how they treated Marvel and DC. Warner Brothers has DC. Basically nothing with it. During the 90s, they had a good stretch. They had a good stretch back in the 90s. The 2000s, same kind of stretch. Because they're like, look, we have this plethora of characters and comics. We could choose any of them. What do you want to do? Let's do another Batman movie. I'm a huge Batman fan. But I'm kind of tired of him. I'll be honest, like, within the last, say...
I want to see Aquaman.
I would love to. Honestly, we can use whales. That's the thing. Aquaman gets a lot of crap because everyone remembers the Super Friends version of him, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, he's not written like that.
He's a fucking badass.
God, yeah. He finds little pieces of your brain that still relate back to your amphibian past and can make you have an aneurysm. That's fucking freaky. And he does, and we're all like, he talks to fish. How useful is that as a power? We don't know how many fish there are undersea. There are fucking creatures that are scary as shit that we have only read about.
And like we mentioned once, like you mentioned to me, he in one comic strip he actually controls the fucking Kraken.
The Kraken, fuck yeah! Like
that was.
Could you imagine seeing a Justice League movie? What is it? Superman's been attacked by, say, Starro, which is a giant starfish kind of alien who's tries to take over the world by controlling all the superheroes.
Okay.
If you see Superman getting his ass kicked by that, and then suddenly Aquaman comes out of the surf right in the Kraken towards that thing, you're like, this is one of the greatest shots ever put on film.
And I'm not a big fan of Aquaman to begin with, and I'm not a huge DC fan anyways, but if I saw Aquaman coming out of the sea on top of the Kraken being my favorite animal underwater, and it is real, it's obviously a real animal, but no, if I saw Aquaman riding the Kraken to help Superman, save Superman's ass, he would become my new favorite superhero.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like... And you can play him so many different ways. Like, I've seen him play both as the straightforward badass, where he's not really a fan of the land, if you will. Like, what would be the word? Earth, air breathers. Like, how he lives under the sea, even above the sea. So he's not really a fan of our world because we keep polluting the water, and he patrols 90% of the Earth, or 70% of the Earth. I forget.
70%.
Yeah, 70% of the Earth. And you could kind of understand that. So he's been played, kind of like knock it off. Well, not knock it off, but he can come in and he's a badass about it. Then you have the other kind of version, which I absolutely love. If you've ever seen Batman Brave and the Bold, I doubt you have, but anyone else out there who's seen it, he's one of the best characters. Like, he's a pompous king.
That's awesome.
But he kicks so much ass. His catchphrase is outrageous. Did I ever tell you about the time I beat 50? No, 90, no, 300 sharks with one hand tied behind my back.
That's awesome.
That's the thing. Like, the character is fascinating, but because all we have is a Super Friends for our further knowledge of DC for the bulk of people, you don't get that situation where, you know Aquaman's pretty cool. You know Green Arrow. Like, I love Green Arrow, the show Arrow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I was not expecting to like it because I was a huge fan of Smallville. Let me rephrase. I was a fan of Smallville from season 5 on, because the first 5 seasons are kind of freak of the week, and just pull out the rage. It's just kind of like, ugh. But Lex and Lionel Luthor's relationship, fantastic. That is the heart of that show. Next to like the Kents, like those moments when they spend at home dealing with that stuff. Those are very interesting. Those are very well done. But getting back to my point, DC is starting to explore their characters on TV, and it'd be more interesting, or at least as interesting, if their TV characters also cross over to film.
Well, aren't they planning on doing that though with the Justice League?
Possibly. From what I hear, it's kind of up in the air about the Justice League. There are rumors circulating that they might do it with Arrow, because Arrow is becoming so popular.
Yeah.
There is a Flash TV show in the works, so it'd be interesting if they did it. If they include Arrow, that they do it that way as well. So.
And if they do the Flash TV show, they're probably gonna like. If they're smart, they're gonna branch off into like the Green Lantern, right? Yeah. Because Hal Jordan. Well,
I don't
Flash.
I don't think the Green Lantern. You want to keep the budget relatively small with.
No,
TV.
No, but I mean like eventually branching out another show, because those two, they're like buddy, right? Flash and Hal Jordan are pretty buddy.
No, Hal Jordan is friends with Green Arrow.
I thought he was friends with Flash.
Well, he's friends, but if you're talking about like strictly like in the comics of kind of like who kind of pal around with each other, it's more Green Arrow and.
Because when DC got rebooted to the kids, like and like the kids of like fucking Teen Titans, like the kids of the Teen Titans, and like all that, when it was rebooted to that.
Yeah.
I was actually starting to read that comic set, and I just remember in there, Hal Jordan and the Flash are really buddy.
All right, and yeah, I could probably see that. The problem is, the thing is like, Pocket Universe, I guess now, but yeah, I could totally see that. Like, if they are drawing from that specific genre of comics, yeah, totally. You can easily. Well, that's the thing. Like, they're using their TV shows now to test out new possible.
Branches or
shows. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think both Marvel and DC, although they already have their movie companies, should get TV channels.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Like, could you, like, honestly, like, you can do an entire day of like just DC shows or Marvel shows. You wake up in the morning, you watch like what do you call it? Marvel has Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah. It's more kid friendly. Later during the day, you have like the afternoon. Maybe you're watching like I don't know, like a live action show. During the night, you're watching maybe like a Punisher series or Daredevil.
Yeah. Got the more risque movies. But yeah, I think other than that, we've pretty much beaten everything that we need to beat over the head. Yeah. So, I think there was one thing that you wanted to tell people about before we closed up, about the website you were talking about.
Have a website I was talking about?
Yeah, the converting.
Oh, right. Alright. So, if you want to listen to this and not have to sit and watch a video for, say, a little over an hour, I found a website called www.flvt.com, I believe. And what you can do is you take the URL of the YouTube video.
URL.
Thank you. Paste it into this little column, and then hit convert, and it will convert it into an MP3 player, which you can then load onto your MP3 player device or your iPod.
Yeah.
If you have trouble finding it, just type in YouTube converter, and they'll come up with a bunch of sites, and it'll be on those.
Not only that, but I'll put a link on
nice.
In the comments. I'll set a link up for it.
Yeah, but that's just if you're interested in having us just in your ears. That sweet audio pussy.
Lick it up. Lick it clean.
That sounds much dirtier than I thought.
I don't. I don't want to think about that anymore.
But yeah, all right. So yeah. So what do you think? Episode 2. Happy with it?
I'm very happy.
So for those who don't know, we have been talking about it. 2 weeks seems a bit too long, so we are thinking of doing weekly. We're gonna see how that goes next week.
Yep, we'll be doing another one next Friday. This video should be up sometime in the weekend, and hopefully it'll be a Sunday, every Sunday kind of thing will be released.
Nice. If you have any idea for topics, or you want to shout out, you just want to hear us say your name, just comment on our web pages or YouTube channel, and we'll gladly read them / shout you out.
Yep.
Alright, well, till next time, this is the Screaming Brain.
And Lucro.
Telling you to have a good one.
Or a really shitty one, whatever you want. I guess if you want to have a shitty one like a lobotomy, you can.
Or take it easy with the little death.
Yeah. Anyways, see ya.
Ciao.